Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Hello. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all doing well. Thank you. It has been a long day for me. So, pardon me if I am not in the happiest of moods. But we needed to talk because there have been some things that have happened since I have left YouTube for just a day. Okay. We were done Friday. We thought we was going to be, like, okay, SmackDown happened. We saw all of that. And we were down two MFTs. And then we come to find out it's because they've been let go. Then you think we get a break, right? And then we find out about the New Day. So let's go through the releases from the beginning, right? This is Stephen A. Smith shit. We'll talk about that bird later. We'll also talk about TKO. So they released the Wyatt Six as a whole, right? Now the reason why they released the Wyatt Six is because they really they don't have a lot of love, or TKO as a conglomerate didn't care for the Wyatt Six as a dark entity of characters. I guess they didn't understand it. They didn't care for it. So instead of allowing them to work how they work, they just decided to let them go and be done with it. The biggest problem I have with this is that because TKO doesn't understand it, they're like, okay, yeah, we need to let this go. I think that that's very weird. I also think that I don't think that that's all that that has to do with, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is in a minute. Some of y'all may not like my theory, but given what we know, the behavior and the action is matching the behavior. But unfortunately, YS6 is gone. Aleister Black. Now, Aleister and his wife Zelina were both let go together. Okay. Let me see if I can find that one. Because I had that one. I think I found it. Because I keep pulling up shit I don't have, honey. There it is. Boom. There she go. It's hard to see my graphics on the side in my StreamYard. It makes it difficult to see. So Zelina and Aleister were released together. Now, a lot of people speculated that Aleister would probably go back to AEW because AEW was a place where Aleister was before WWE sought after him and recruited him. Well, it turns out, according to rumors, that AEW's locker room is not okay with Aleister Black coming back. The rumor is that he's difficult to work with and that he is not a fun person to have in the locker room. I don't know if a lot of that is true. I'm going to lean more towards there's some discord there. Um, I don't know. I don't know because there was never any issue with Aleister in the WWE locker room when he first got there. There was no issue with Aleister in the WWE locker room afterwards. So it's odd that the problem is only occurring over in AEW. I find that to be strange. But I'm not going to say if it's wrong, right, or indifferent because I don't know. All I know is that Vega and Black were both released together as a package. Now, were there any information about why they were released? No. It was just that they were released. Now, Zelina Vega was only pissed about Sean Ross Sapp, telling everybody that she was gone before she had the opportunity to address her fans and the public. And he basically, brushed it off like I'm doing my job. You got released. It is what it is. The information is out there. Blah, 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 blah. It's always going to be fuck Sean Ross Sapp in this house because that man is a crybaby bitch. And I will stand by that 10 toes down. So I'm gonna be whoever going against them, unless they saying some weird egregious shit, I'm gonna be on their side because I don't like him. So it is what it is. Andre Chase got released. Of course, this was gonna happen. They were shutting down Chase U. They tried to revive it. It didn't work. I like Chase U, honestly. It was very reminiscent of like damn, they can't catch a shot to make it say they like the OG stuff that we used to see back in the day, like APA, skit style wrestling that worked. And I like that. I liked it. I miss that type of wrestling. That's kind of why I like Tony D'Angelo with the family because the Don had a thing. And I just wish they would have leaned into that more so that he had more control and that would have worked out for him. Because this entity person that he's become, Tony D'Angelo, I don't think that character will translate well on the main roster. I think that the Don will translate very well on the main roster, especially if you put him in a heel form and give him some power and have him going back and forth and you put Paul Heyman with him, that kind of shit would work. At least in my opinion. Anyways, they got rid of Kaylee Ray Alba Fire. Now Alba Fire was one of my favorite NXT UK girlies. She was the longest reigning NXT UK champion in history. She is the reason why I have that UK belt because I love that fucking belt. It was my favorite belt. The UK belts were unmatched. I don't care what nobody says. The men's UK belt, the women's UK belt, they just looked so prestigious, so pristine. They were bomb. They were bomb belts. Okay. Beautiful titles. They fired a lot of wrestlers that's about to go to AEW. Kyrie, Kofi, Xavier, 3 MFT wrestlers. AJ Lee said she's not going to be wrestling for a while. I don't think all of these wrestlers are going to AEW. I think they'll go and probably be over there to wrestle. But they don't have to sign up for AEW. There are other promotions they could work for. AEW is not the only one. Me personally, if I were Xavier and Kofi, I would go over there. I think Kaylee Ray would do great over there. If I was Kairi Sane, I would go back to Japan. Or I would go to TNA as my pirate character. I think in TNA, her pirate character would eat down. But I don't think all of these released wrestlers are going to AEW. No, you're fine. Personally, I don't think all of them should go over there. There's no need for them to all go over there. There's plenty of promotions to go around. And a lot of them televised and ready to go. Like you don't have to all go to AEW to be seen. But I'm mad about Kaylee Ray because I loved her and I really wanted her to be more than just Chelsea's sidekick because she was capable of being more than that. She's a really nasty heel that would have worked beautifully, especially somebody who could have gave Tiffany a really good run for her money while she was champion. You could have had Kaylee Ray step out of Chelsea's shadow, move into being a true contender for that title. Really, like I said, really being a dastardly villain to Tiffany's face turn character. And it would have worked. It would have boosted Tiffany Stratton and it would have gave Kaylee Ray the true, villainy that she needed to boost herself to go back at that championship again, or for her to be United States Championship and Chelsea being her side, being on her side. But they didn't see what I saw apparently. So it is what it is, unfortunately. Let's move on. Zoe Starks, look, Zoe Starks had been on the show for almost what, 2, maybe 3 years. She hadn't come back. They hadn't been able to use her. And I mean, if they did, at best, Zoe would have been in the mid card. I'm not saying anybody needs to be fired, but I understand why they didn't bring her back, why they just went on ahead and released her. She'll be fine though. I mean, she definitely could go to AEW and probably would thrive over there for sure. Um, Tyra May Steele, she foreshadowed her own release. Shit. Not too long ago, Tyra May was on the internet talking about she had a dream that she was being released from WWE. 2 months later, the girl getting released. I mean, sometimes it's best to just keep things close to the vets. Maybe not put all of that shit out there. But hey, Tyra, look, I've seen it in ring work. It's not bad. Do I think you could go somewhere else and be successful? Yes. I mean, you could go over to Japan and really hone your skills. You can go over to the UK and do some amazing things in the UK. You got plenty of time. She's very young, and WWE has a tendency to reach back and hire people that they fired all the time. It's all about trimming when it comes to these releases. So Tyra May could end up coming back to WWE at some point. Who knows? But for now, she's gone. The last of the Olympic people that WWE recruited are definitely gone. So Jacob Fatu, that phone call he got on SmackDown was Solo Sikoa telling him they let go of team from MFT. He damn near broke down and cried. You know that phone call that was kayfabe. The phone call that we all saw on TV. That was a kayfabe storyline. I don't think that Solo was calling Jacob storyline wise and then having a conversation about the MFTs being released. I don't think that that's what happened. But if this happened on social media, that was something different. Then cool. But what if you're referring to the same thing that I saw, which was a clip of him talking on the phone to someone about what he did to Roman on Monday? I don't think that correlates with the MFTs being released. All right, Kyrie Sane was probably the most interesting of this group. A lot of rumors came out about Kyrie after this. A lot of people were like, oh, well, she wanted to go home to Japan. This is why they released her. Kyrie Sane came out and denied that completely, and that is not true. No one knows why Kyrie Sane was released, but the rumor is that they were doing more aid. They were releasing a lot of the older people and bringing in younger folks. And I'm like, I don't believe that that's true either because LA Knight is older, as is CM Punk, Roman Reigns. You could even lump Cody into that class because they're in their he's in his late 30s. Like a lot of the guys that are at the top and a lot of the girls who are at the top, Charlotte Flair, I don't even know how old Nia is. I think Nia is in her mid 30s. But either way, like a lot of them are in their upper 30s. So it's not, I don't think it's a situation of age at all. I think they just picked certain people that they didn't deem fit what they wanted in their companies, and it was like, yeah, we can cut them, we can cut them, we can cut them, and that's how that went, because I know Oscar's older than Kyrie say. So why would they keep Oscar? Even though Oscar's a bigger star than Kyrie, Oscar's great. But if it's all about age, right? Aging stars, then they would have gotten rid of all of the top guys, current people holding belts. Rusev wouldn't be there if that was the case. You feel what I'm saying? Like, none of that makes any sense. So, no, I don't believe that. All right. Then Santos got released, and this one really baffled me because Santos got injured in AAA, I think, and then he was on the shelf. He was supposed to be coming back. He was put into a storyline. All of a sudden, they decide that he needs to be released. That baffled me because they fought hard to keep Santos Escobar, fought hard to keep him. And as soon as they got him, he went to AAA and was fighting in AAA and was going after that AAA championship. And then all of a sudden, it's crickets, it's noise, it's like quiet, silence. And then all of a sudden, he gets released. And it's like, well, damn, like he just got injured. You could have, like, there's no respect for Santos. Santos deserves better than what he's gotten. Like, for real. I don't know who else got released, but let me see. WWE releases. Yeah, I think it was just New Day. Somebody got in their ass when they got in their back. Okay. We're gonna do one more and then we'll get to the New Day stuff. What's this one? Motor City Machine Guns broke my heart. Motor City Machine Guns were not used properly. They didn't play on the Motor City Machine Guns, their ability to be comedic, their ability in the ring, the villainy that they could have brought to the tag team division. They wanted them to keep them from going to AEW, and I feel like they should have just let them go to AEW. I think that they really did them a disservice by bringing them in and not really knowing what to do with them. And because they did that, they cost them real time and like some real opportunities at doing great things. And I'm just pissed at how they did them. Like, I'm just so pissed. But I love Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, love them both, love them down. So if they go over to AEW, which I suspect that they will, I'll watch because I know for a fact they'll be fine over there. All right. So Ariel Helwani had a message for TKO and this whole situation, and I'm going to read it so you guys can understand, and then we'll get into New Day and the MFT's release. But TKO as an entity has a major task on its hands right now. It has to win the hardcore fans back. They may care about the casuals, the top line, the mainstream fans, celebrities, and influencers. They may not care about the hardcores now, but they will start to worry about them when the casuals become hardcores, which is what they want. The letters TKO are becoming somewhat stained in the eyes of wrestling, MMA, and boxing fans. We should never be talking about TKO as fans. That's the parent company. They're ruining the sanctity of what we love so much. The mat now has ads everywhere. The table has ads everywhere. The apron has ads everywhere. There are no there are no more backstage vignettes, no more interviews, and interests are being lost. It doesn't feel the same anymore. Respectfully, I have to agree. I feel like TKO is running WWE like it's a massive ad. There's nothing fun about it. There's no real in depth fun about wrestling that we used to love. The stories are there, But we don't see backstage vignettes. We don't see backstage interactions. We don't see attacks backstage anymore. Those are few and far between. We don't get to see the storylines play out. We don't get to see them actually flesh out a story so that it makes sense from start to finish. We don't get to see any of that because they're so hyper fixated on one clip moments. They're so fixated on TikTok views and YouTube views and these big moments, these highlight reels. They're so hyper fixated on it, so focused that they lose the aspect to tell a story from start to finish and start that story off strong and make it worthwhile. We are losing that all because you don't know what you're doing. And I don't understand. That's my biggest thing with TKO is like you don't even have to be this involved. You're to be this involved. And that's the part that's really ruffling my feathers because we don't need you. There's a whole fucking team in WWE that can make sure what is being shown is fine. But you keep reaching down and taking from the gold pot every week, making it smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where it's just going to be little coins left. New Day leaving was a very big problem for TKO. And that's what we're getting into. Okay, hold on. Backlash, yeah, we're not going to talk about Backlash. New Day leaving is a massive problem. I was under the assumption that Kofi and Xavier both were going to be lifers. I didn't think they were going to leave until they got ready to retire. And that's just real talk. They've never had any issues with contracts. They've always said, like, when they've had a problem, they were able to work everything out. But TKO coming in and changing everything. So let me explain to you guys what actually happened because the story changes by who tells it. And from what I understand is that TKO wanted Xavier and Kofi to switch over to TKO deals. They did not want them to keep their current contracts as it was. So they were in a contract restructuring negotiation. Okay. And when they sat down and had a little conversation, like do, hey, we want to restructure you guys' contract, get you under some new TKO deals. Are you okay with that? Okay, cool. What are you offering? What are your terms? TKO laid it out. Kofi and Xavier both were like, I don't like that deal. I don't like that. That's not gonna work for us. So I guess they went back and forth, and when things didn't really work out the way they wanted, they were like, you know what? Hold on, y'all. Hold tight. Uh-oh. All right. So, okay, here we go. So once they said, you know what, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not re-signing. We're not signing this contract unless you renegotiate this. TKO was at a standstill. They were like, this is what we're offering. We're not giving you anything else. Kofi and Xavier said, okay, we're done. We're walking. Okay. You can keep this and we're out. So they left. They decided there was no contract that could be come to an agreement by both sides. So they both mutually decided that it was best for them to part ways. Now you have to think, okay? Kofi Kingston was one of your oldest vets, if not the oldest vet on the roster to date. And he's gone. Xavier Woods, one of your best wrestlers who not only brought in a stream of revenue through New Day, he also brought in the stream of revenue through Up, Down, which kept people going through the pandemic and gave WWE another outlet into a totally different world that they hadn't tapped into, which was fucking video games. So Not only that, but you've lost two of your top guys, right? They're gone. So now the question you have to ask yourself is, what is TKO offering that their top two of their top guys, two of their vets, at least one of them is one of the longest vets there. They're like, yeah, we're not taking that. What are you offering these guys that tells them that they're like, no, I know my worth. I'm out of here. Sir, I'm just curious. But I'll tell you what, this is not good for TKO. This is not good at all. They have lost two of their top guys, two of their veterans. They have walked. This is a problem. And TKO can keep, Mark Shapiro can sit up on his high horse and talk about how great things look because the current numbers are great. But who do you think buys these tickets? Who do you think buys those t-shirts? Who do you think is buying those fucking belts, those $500 and $600, $1,500 belts? Those are hardcore fans buying that. And if they don't feel like anything is worth buying, they're not going to purchase things. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll give you the tea. They're going to hyper fixate on the new guys coming in. Guys like Trick Williams, they're going to be great. Very soon, people like Sammy are going to be pushed out. Kevin's not going to be able to come back if he ever gets cleared. They're going to push people out like Charlotte. They're going to start pushing out the OGs, pushing them out to the point where they're no longer being seen or they're forcing them into retirement. Then not only are you going to be able to have the guys like Trick and everybody else in there, but the other problem is you're not going to have the storylines that we used to have because they're going to be changing everything on the fly. Let's say the creative comes up with something and they're like, "Oh yeah, well let's not do that." That's not going to work. So they'll inch in and bring in an influencer to try to hype other people to come watch it. Bring in a musician to try to hype somebody to come watch it. I'm not mad at musicians, influencers, or anybody celebrity coming in to WWE. I never have been. I am okay with that. What I have a problem with is shoehorning them into everything because they don't have to be a part of everything. That's not necessary. Okay. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they have a big problem if they don't get this taken care of. And Kofi and Xavier, I wrote a letter to them and I put it on my Instagram. I put it on shorts on here and I also put it on my threads so everybody can see it. It's easier to see on threads because it just, goes, post by post on threads. So you can go on threads and look at it. Name is the same on threads as it is everywhere else. I love threads. Threads is messy and I love it. So and then we kind of got the idea or we understood that the MFTs, Tongaloa and JC Mateo have both been let go as well. Now, a lot of people were upset with that because Tongaloa was one half, or still is, he just isn't in WWE. He was one half of God, and that was one of the greatest tag teams in the world. And I wanted to see God versus the Usos versus New Day. I wanted to see that. And I knew that was going to be money. I knew that was going to be magic. So I wanted to see that. And they robbed us of that, putting Tongaloa and Tama Tonga in the group with the MFTs. You wasted so much time with them. And I hated that. I hated them for it. They really fucked us over with that. And I hate you for that. JC Mateo, I'll tell you what, when it comes to JC Mateo, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jeff Cobb. That was his name before he got to WWE. I'm not saying that he's not an excellent wrestler. He is a great wrestler. It's just personality wise, character wise, he doesn't have it. And that's no shade, but he just doesn't have it. In order for you to be able to be at the top of the mountain and to be a champion, especially in a WWE setting in that space, you've got to have some type of aura. And Jeff Cobb doesn't give much. He gives good wrestler, which there's a big difference between the two. So there you have it. Okay, there is where we are in terms of all of the wrestlers that have been released over the last couple of weeks. Okay, what is this? I don't know what this is. Oh, MJF gave Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods some love after they got departed. So shout out to him for that. But there were a few things that I wanted to tell y'all before I got my ass up out of here, and the reason why I went live in the first place. So first things first, I think that TKO is another company that is also in the pocket of the administration. And I know that sounds weird, and some of y'all are probably gonna be like, you're doing conspiracy theory bullshit, but you got to hear me out. I need you to hear me out. Things change on a whim in with TKO. It's like they're flying blind for some reason, and I don't understand it. And it wasn't like that in the beginning when you really think about it. And they don't do they're doing too much. Their grip is too tight, and something about it stinks. Something seems so fucking weird to me, and I don't understand what the issue is or why they feel like they have to be so tight on WWE and on UFC. They are killing both sports. Hey, Don. So I don't understand it. I'm confused, but something about it is weird, and I think it has a lot to do with who is in their back pocket. And I think that it has a lot to do with how they want to present themselves, because they want to, on one hand, keep people engaged and keep you watching. And then on the other hand, they want to be on some bullshit. Now, it's going to be a major problem if CM Punk leaves, because, like, CM Punk doesn't like politic and bullshit. He's not a big fan of that kind of stuff. So if he sees or feels like something about this shit ain't right, that man just might walk, or he'll stay on long enough to try to change it from the inside. However, this time he might just leave, because, and then if more people leave, then there's a problem. Now, I obviously there's a big rumor going around that Roman is going to be gone for the majority of the month of June. So we're in May. He's scheduled to be on every single Raw this May. Like, there's no qualms about it. He said he's coming to work. Cool. Love that for him. But in June, he's been pulled from of his
Ooh.
all of his dates, all the dates that he's been scheduled to work, he's been pulled from them. Now, let me change the WWE Summer Tour 2026. They're supposed to do like a European tour, and it's supposed to start. Uh, shit. Yeah, okay. This tour is supposed to begin in May. So he'll be on the European tour from May 28th to May 31st. And then if he's pulled from the tour and not going to be touring, then he won't be seen for that entire tour. There's only two Raws over in Italy. The Raw after Clash in Italy And then there's a Raw in London, which he might show up for that. Oh, there's three. There's a Raw in Paris and there's a Raw in London. And there's only one SmackDown. Why is there only one SmackDown overseas? That's weird. I don't like that. There's only one SmackDown in the whole tour. It's one in May, but it's only one SmackDown. Let me show y'all so y'all can see what I'm seeing. I was supposed to go live with everybody with the Midwest Melanin Mafia and talk about this because I knew they wanted to talk about it, but things just got in the way and they couldn't show up. So my apologies. But y'all can see the tour. Like, look at the thing. It's like they got 2 days for SmackDown. One is in May, one is in June, and they're going to be in Italy for that one. And then after that, there is no more SmackDown. There should be another SmackDown in there. I don't understand. They must be coming back to the States, I guess, for SmackDown. But from what I hear, Roman's been pulled from those. But that doesn't mean that is true. It could be just pure rumor. Who knows? Maybe the others are splashed down because it's across the ocean. Mikey, please. Mikey, please. Mikey, please. Not today. Not today. Mikey's stupid. He always give you one. Always. He always give you one. You gotta love Mikey though. Any whoosies. This is their tour schedule for their summer European tour. It's gonna start on the 28th of May. So there's that. Then we've got Slammiversary happening on June 28th. If you've been catching up with TNA, Ali is back. Mustafa Ali has the international championship over there. Trey Miguel is injured, so he's out for quite some time. And I'm not sure what's going on with Mike Santana and that title, but it seems everything is going well over in TNA, or at least from what I hear, it's halfway decent. Ariana Grace is still champion, which boggles the mind, but make yourself happy. Like, what's weird to me is WWE will allow their wrestlers to go be champion in another company, but won't let any TNA guys be champion in their company except for the Hardys. They're the only ones. Like, you're very disrespectful, WWE, but whatever makes you happy. Backlash's poster is they have an official theme song. It's by Sophie Tucker and J Balvin, and it's called Cook. That is the official theme song for Backlash this year. It's gonna be in Tampa, so if you care, there you have it. And this is where the idea of the restructuring of their contracts came in. And I want to make sure people understand that they were not released just because WWE were cutting superstars. Kofi and Xavier left on their own free will because they didn't like the negotiations. They didn't like the terms of the contract they were presented. So for once, Brian Alvarez actually told the truth. Anyways, they said they could confirm that in the case of New Day, it was their decision to leave based on what TKO was offering for a new deal. And to be specific, New Day's deal were not up. They were asked to restructure 2 TKO deals. They didn't like the deal, so they were granted their release. That's bottom line. They were like, you don't want to give us what we want, so we're leaving. And we're worth more than that, which, to be honest, they definitely are. So a story, like I said earlier, going around about the Wyatts is that they weren't fans of darker characters, and that's been the blame placed on why acts such as the Wyatts, Aleister Black, along with Zelina, were all released, which to me makes no fucking sense. You have to have depth on your roster, and it's wild that you can, cut those guys and then look the Undertaker in the eye and tell him he was a great character and a great guy, right? That makes so much sense. So fucking smart. Now let's talk about what President Mark Shapiro was wanting the embrace of all in WWE to be a major priority. Okay, let's see. Mikey said June 12th, Friday, 7:30. Open additional information. Providence, Rhode Island, Amica. Oh, they are gonna be okay. So they are gonna be back in the States for both SmackDowns. Okay. They're gonna be in the States for most of June. SmackDowns are gonna be in the States, but Raws are gonna be overseas. So well, all right, cool. So according to TKO President Mark Shapiro, he said he wanted AI to be in WWE to be a majority. He explained during a town hall meeting this week. I don't remember when I got this, but I screenshotted it and snapped it and put it in. So this is another conversation I wanted to have, which was about AI being used in WWE. And according to Mark Shapiro, he said Nick Khan and Triple H are using AI for storylines with WWE. I don't understand why Nick Khan is involved in this either. That's bothering me. What do you mean Nick Khan is using stories in with AI? He shouldn't be doing any of that. He shouldn't be doing any of that. There's a reason why Triple H is hired to do the job. It shouldn't be Nick's job to do any of that. What's resonating? What superstars are resonating? In what pockets of the country are they resonating? That helps us with obviously our content, our editorial, our creative, our mapping, our touring, and of course maximizing revenue and getting our product out to the fans most in need of it. I don't think that that's what you're using it for. Um, but if that's what you say, I can't, pretty much deny it. I will say this. Damn. Oh, Jesus. Is he okay? Or is everybody okay?
Reggie got up from the seat for the commentary table to help him up.
Fell on that white lady. I'm sure she was happy. Had that big black man on her. Anyway. Couldn't stop that forward momentum, I see. I would say this when it comes to WWE using AI for storylines or mapping out. Like, I don't mind you doing that. Like, it's probably the same way that you would use Copilot if you're writing a story. Copilot is AI for Microsoft, and it basically will tell you where it feels like you are not necessarily, writing cohesively. The story isn't flowing right. You can ask it to analyze things in that regard, and that in itself I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with it, suggesting storylines or something that you can map out. I feel like that could help in terms of seeing a wider picture where you're creating a storyline. Let's say you start with Liv Morgan and you're like, okay, Liv Morgan is the champion, she's a heel, she's still in Judgment Day, there are two Judgment Day members right now. Map out Liv Morgan's title run until WrestleMania. Tell me where to go with it, right? Like, and then you can tweak that and edit that so that it makes sense and that it's worthwhile. Like, that's not hard to do. You know what I'm saying? That'll be fun. That'll be interesting. That's gonna be a good time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not necessarily mad at them using AI to their benefit. I don't want them to make that a crutch. I want them to hire people who can give fresh ideas. You can plug those fresh ideas into the algorithm for the AI and have the AI help you structure things. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that that will work out beautifully for WWE, but they have to do it right. You know what I'm saying? And they have to not abuse it. That's the other thing. These can go in the trash. So I'm not mad at it. A lot of people were pissed about this. I'm not mad at it. I do think they need to separate church and state. I think Nick Khan shouldn't be involved in creative. He shouldn't be down there sitting down there in meetings and shit. I'm sorry. You're not hired to do that part. You're hired to keep the company flowing. You're hired to handle the big shit. You know what I'm saying? You're hired to handle that stuff. You're hired to look at numbers. You're hired to make sure your departments are running properly. You're hired to do that. You know what I'm saying? Campaigns, projects, marketing, that kind of shit. You being down in creative, wondering or putting your hand in shit. I don't mind you passing off a few ideas, talking things over. That part I don't care about. But you being directly involved with creative bothers me for some reason, as well as TKO being involved creative bothers me. I don't like it. And I think that that should be rectified immediately. Now, this last thing that I want to talk about that I came across online is Stephen A. Smith's bald headed ass. ESPN is enthusiastic about Stephen A. Smith possibly getting involved with WWE. And it is expected to be a payoff for his involvement and pitch for this summer. And Nick Khan has encouraged Smith to get involved with WWE. Ew. I don't want him anywhere near WWE. I don't like Stephen A. Smith. I don't like him. I think that he's a grifting bitch, and I find him to be very repulsive in his behavior and how he's so quick to make a quick dollar. I don't want to see that bald headed bitch anywhere near wrestling. There's a reason why a lot of us watch wrestling. It's because we can get away from niggas like this. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to watch this motherfucker on TV. That is not something that we are looking forward to do. We don't like his ass. We don't like this bitch. We don't like him. They don't boo him because they want to see him. They boo him because they don't fucking like him. Have y'all gotten so jaded that you forgot exactly what when somebody boos, what that means? Or is it because the fans boo at anybody that they hate? Or is it because the fans cheer at everybody that they love? It matter if it be heel or face, it don't matter. Like, I don't want to see this bald headed bitch, this Bob's Burgers looking ass character on my TV screen. I'm all right. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. Like, stop thinking general hate is crowd heat. Thank you. Thank you. This is not for the girls with the booming systems. This is not it. This is not it. Well, of course. I'm just gonna say yes, you have for now. That might change. Because if I take a break from wrestling, then y'all know something is wrong. I watch wrestling every week. I watch WWE every week. And to be honest with you, I would watch AEW and do commentary on AEW as well, but nobody cares. I post stuff on my page about AEW. People don't interact with it. They don't care about it. Oh, fuck them. They definitely copyright infringe me, and I can't. And it's just like, right? Or maybe I should say I found a wrestling fan. Does that sound better? Yes, you found a wrestling fan. I like wrestling of all kinds, if I can understand it. Like New Japan, I like New Japan, but I don't know. It's something you have to get used to. New Japan is something you have to. It's an acquired taste. But it's not bad. It's fun wrestling, I would say that. And I do enjoy AEW from time to time. They have very good female superstars over there in AEW and some good male wrestlers over in AEW. When I catch it, I'm thoroughly entertained. I can say that. Um, so you found a wrestling fan. So you're absolutely correct. And if you stick around, you'll see I go live every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on Saturday or Sunday if there's a PLE. I'm only live today because I was supposed to go live yesterday and talk about New Day's release, but I couldn't get everybody that I needed to get in here to do it. But those are my live schedules, and then I'm going to start posting 2 regular videos every single week where I'm going to start my analysis back and I'm going to start doing some other things. And you guys will see all that content very soon. So if you subscribe, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Right. Then I could post it, but they don't listen to me. They don't love me. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means it's bad if you aren't commenting about it, right? Right? It's horrible if you don't hear me say nothing about it. Absolutely. TNA is good. It's just late. I like TNA. I just need TNA to have a little bit more oomph. A little bit more je ne sais quoi. It's gotta have a little bit more spice. And I love Mike Santana to death, and I'm so glad that he got to be champion. And I just wish that they had a true adversary for him in TNA because TNA has been gutted. And there's nothing going on in TNA outside of Mara Sade. Love Mara Sade. That girl left WWE, went to TNA and was like, bitch, I'm gonna show you how a bitch go down a slide. And she did that. Trained with the Hardys, got her shit hyped, got her a new man. I believe she dating Kevin Knight. Child. Got her a new man. She was like, Stella got her groove back, bitch. Ooh, they cutting the lead, Jared. They cutting it. I'm really into WWE and Indies. I'm from the Upper Peninsula. Oh, cool. WWE is good when it's good, and it's not when it's not. So we'll just leave it there. So I'm glad that you enjoy WWE when you can. Me, I like what I like, but I'm gonna talk about it all so everybody can get into it and enjoy it. And I try my hardest to up the storyline or make it sound even better as much as I can. So when you get ready to watch the match, the culmination of the feud, or at least the continuation of it, you're more interested about it if you've been down this road with me than you did when you watched it through WWE. If that makes sense. Okay. I try real hard. Always talking about the WWT. Get it? Period. Period, Mikey. Period. The WWE releases make me very angry. Well, here's what I always say to everybody who comes over into my neck of the woods when you're in the United States, the Tiffany. Okay. Now listen, WWE releases, they happen every single year. Unfortunately, it's par for the course. You have to get used to the drive. You have to get used to the mess. A lot of times they do that because they're up for their fiscal year review and or it's a quarterly review and they want to be under a cap. They want to be under a certain amount of money. And in order for them to do that, they've got to trim some fat somewhere. And so they'll cut these contracts that they see. Those contracts are off the books. That money's off the books. WWE looks like they're profiting in a very high profit margin. And then you'll see about a year later or maybe 6 months later, they'll hire one or two of those people back. It is a strategic move in some cases. Other times they're firing people or releasing people because they're not using them and they need the space. Guys like Apollo Crews, unfortunately, wasn't being used regularly. Guys like Andre Chase, they weren't using him. He was just taking up space, unfortunately for him. And they got to move on. You know what I'm saying? So don't always take it so personally and don't always get upset. You should have an opposite reaction, unless it's somebody that you really love and you're like, they didn't deserve to be released. I understand, have your moment, say what you want to say. But instead of going on these long and angry rants online, you should hyper focus that energy into the superstars and focus on them and support them. Like wherever they go, if they go to another company like CMLL, or if they're going to AEW, MLW, if they're going, Lucha Underground is getting ready to come back. So a lot of people are probably going to pop up in Lucha Underground. If they're going to TNA, New Japan, Progress over in the UK. If they're over there or doing any of that stuff, then support them wherever they go, because I promise you that will do a lot more help than just being online being an asshole. But I can understand people voicing their frustrations, especially if they rally together like they did for our truth. Then that's when the only time I'll say go at that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she eating. I feel like they are spinning a wheel and then the wheel lands on whatever wrestler. Well, what happened this time is TKO had a lot of influence as to who got fired and who had to stay. That is why a lot of people were contacted by Triple H when they were let go, and he's telling them, like, hey, that he had to smooth some things over because in this business, they never want to burn a bridge. They always want to keep the line of communication open because every one of those people that have left are always going to pop back up in some capacity. For Zelina Vega, I know it didn't do her a lot of help to leave the way she left, but she got to be U.S. champion, even though it was short lived. She got to be U.S. champion. It was the one thing she wanted to be, was a champion, and she got to do that. So I'm happy for her. But I feel like they could have used Vega going up against Tiffany Stratton and as a heel too. Like they really had big opportunities with certain people, and they missed those opportunities, marginalizing them and pigeonholing them into these small little tiny boxes. And that's one of the things I hate about WWE is they're so hyper fixated on the big guys like Trick Williams and like say a Carmelo Hayes or Ricky Saints, that they miss the guys like um God, let's see. A comparison to a mid Carter coming from NXT would be somebody like, I don't know. You miss the potential of guys like Tavion Heights when they finally hit their stride. You miss the potential of guys like Charlie Dempsey. You keep forcing them into these pockets instead of letting them go off and do their own thing. You miss potential with all of these guys because of the way that you operate. And I really wish that they would allow them to harness and move forward. But they're so hyper fixated on the Codys and the Romans and the CM Punks and the Trick Williams of the world that they miss the opportunity to curate decent mid cards that make people want to be interested in the program, that help keep the program flowing. They miss that, and I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Now, look, I want y'all to be very, very mindful. Be very mindful when you're watching television. Just watch TV. Don't, read too deep into shit. Just watch it and enjoy it. Me personally, that's how I watch it. Now, if you guys see any more news on anything that's happening, don't hesitate to send it to me. If you follow me, go ahead over to Instagram and follow me. The name is the same. It's at Psych Design TV2 over on Instagram. There's podcasts that we do. Down for the count. I'm going live on both channels, so there's that. Down for the count has its own YouTube. I mean, it's on YouTube and it's on Spotify, so you can listen to us as we do our podcast. We did not do a podcast this week. We took a break. I'm sure we'll be back next week, and the girls will be voicing their frustrations about everything. I have my own podcast and stuff I want to talk about. Podcasts. It has nothing to do with wrestling. I do Reddit posts over there, so there's Reddit Fridays. And on Wednesdays, you'll get some Pop Culture Wednesday stuff as well. But other than that, I try to keep it very cool over there and interesting. We talk about movies over there. Sometimes I go in about music. It depends. All right. And over here is where I keep my wrestling content all day, every day. And sometimes we do some different stuff. Like on the weekends to decompress and to keep everybody from losing their shit about wrestling. I do reading and chill. Well, we'll sit, you'll sit, have your earbuds in, and we'll read a book, or we'll read a book that one of my friends have written, or I'll read a book. We were reading Black as Fuck History. I had to take a break on that and I'll get back to it. There are plenty of posts up with me reading the chapters. I'll finish the book out for you guys and then we'll move on to the next one. and then we'll finish Rico's book, which was what everybody was really listening to. But there's a lot of stuff that happens over here, and I want to make sure you guys see it. Okay. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much for coming over here, listening to me rant and rave. I know it was random, but I had to get some things off my chest first. I want you guys to be very careful and watch. Keep your eyes open when it comes to this TKO and how they're moving. You need to be mindful of the things that we consume and what we watch. When things start to get real nasty, especially in the entertainment industry, there's something wrong in our society. We have to start paying attention. And I'm not trying to be funny or conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you, as a person who observes and waits. You need to pay attention when things start shifting and changing in very niche style entertainment as well as overall entertainment. When everybody is starting to change into different stuff, you're starting to see overtly religious or overly liberal things happening. That means that there's an imbalance and something has to be restored. You have to start paying attention. Not telling you to pick a side, I'm telling you to pay attention. Okay? I know it sounded cryptic and weird, but I promise you, in a few months, it'll all make sense. You just got to trust me. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy wrestling. I know it's not the best. I wrote my letter to Kofi and to Xavier because I felt like they needed to see it and hear it. I hope that they did. I don't know if they did, but I hope that they did. If not, I just want to let y'all know that Kofi was my favorite. And I love that man for everything that he was able to do, to be able to become champion and hold that title the way he did with a smile on his face, with the weight that he was carrying. He did it with ease, whether it was painful to him or not. We as fans never knew because he never let that smile crack. He always kept it. Even when he lost in less than a minute, Kofi Kingston still was smiling and happy and doing his thing. And unfortunately, it was not appreciated, and it definitely should have been. I don't know what's going to happen in the future and how things are going to go, but I hope for Kofi's sake that he gets everything that he deserves. In terms of Xavier Woods is probably one of the coolest wrestlers in WWE and just in the wrestling community alone. He changed what it meant to be a wrestler and what it looked like. He let people be okay with being able to be a part of this nerdy niche conglomerate that we're in and still dabble in other nerdy aspects like video games, cosplaying, anime. He made it cool and he made it look cool, especially for young black boys to see somebody like him. I mean, nobody was cosplaying as Dragon Ball Z at WrestleMania. And the New Day became synonymous with being seen as pure black boy joy personified. Unfortunately, we lost Big E. He went down. And then after that, the New Day was regaled to just nothing almost. And so everybody has their day, unfortunately. But when it comes to the New Day, I don't think that they're going to be out of commission for long. I think we'll see them again. It may not be on the WWE screen, but we'll see them again. And for that, I'm always going to be watching and I'm going to be looking. Wherever they go, I'm going to support them because I love them. Y'all make sure y'all tell Kofi and Xavier how much you love them too. In respect to Tongaloa and JC Mateo and everybody that was released, y'all will always have somewhere somebody calling you, their favorite. Somebody's always going to be your fan. You don't have to worry about that. The industry is small, and all of y'all have been on one of the biggest stages of them all. So you more than likely now will be able to command top dollar wherever you go, and that's a good thing. So I hope it works out for everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow, which is Monday, and we'll go live after Raw. I hope to see all of you and so many more there. Thank you so much for listening to me rant and rave today. I'll see you next time. Bye. I have to pee.